A single crop that Egyptian rulers insisted accompany them beyond death. A root vegetable so powerful it kept complex societies alive across 6 millennia. Yet today, government agriculture agencies worldwide have branded it among the most dangerous invasive species ever documented. Corporations manufacture specialized chemicals designed exclusively to eliminate it. Official documents label it a threat to farming. An entire commercial apparatus exists solely to wipe it from the planet. Agrochemical giants have earned fortunes convincing growers to obliterate every trace of it. This organism delivers greater caloric output per square meter than mainstream agricultural products. It withstands water scarcity that decimates conventional harvests. It flourishes in environments where traditional cereals would perish from nutrient deficiency. It demands zero synthetic additives, zero toxic sprays, zero industrial equipment. And that's exactly why its destruction became inevitable. This is the chronicle of the powerhouse we've been taught to eliminate. Welcome to Vault of Forgotten Nature. During archaeological expeditions in the early 20th century, researchers probing predynastic burial sites in Egypt uncovered something that would transform our comprehension of historical sustenance. Within sepulchres dating back 60 centuries, they encountered an anomaly. Instead of precious metals or gemstones, they discovered preserved root vegetables, meticulously arranged beside the entombed. These weren't haphazard provisions. Scientific examination confirmed they had been intentionally chosen, prepared, and maintained for eternity. Research into preserved remains revealed identical root vegetables within digestive tracts. The deceased had consumed them as final nourishment. The survivors had positioned them in burial chambers to provide spiritual sustenance in eternity. At the Wadi Kabaniya site, located north of Aswan, excavators identified wild specimens of this organism traced back 16,000 years before the Common Era. 16 millennia. That predates recognized agricultural development by 8,000 years. These were foraged materials, demonstrating human collection during the final ice age. By 5,000 years before our era, this organism had achieved status as among Egypt's earliest domesticated food sources, trailing only emmer wheat and barley in antiquity. It wasn't supplementary nutrition. It formed the bedrock of their entire society. Inside the sepulchre of Rekhmire, administrative official to Pharaoh Thutmose III, painted murals depict common people measuring and handling these root vegetables. Laborers crush them using elongated grinding tools, combine them with bee nectar, sculpt the blend into tall conical formations. These represented ceremonial confections, tributes to the deity Ammonius, mandated through royal proclamation at every celebration. Ancient Egyptian texts called them Habel Aziz. Greek scholars documented them. Theophrastus described preparing them in fermented beverages. Roman traders circulated them commercially. Across thousands of years, they remained ubiquitous. This is chufa, scientifically designated as Cyperus esculentus. Spaniards call it chufa. African communities know it as aya. English markets brand them tiger nuts due to their striped exterior. But they're not actual nuts whatsoever. They're tubers, subterranean energy reserves. Chufa belongs to the sedge classification, the identical plant family that produced papyrus. It thrives in wetlands, in saturated earth, in circumstances where standard food plants would decompose. The vegetation features three-sided stalks and a below-ground system of tubercles that can reach 75 per individual plant. The tubers measure small, roughly equivalent to a garbanzo bean. They deliver a sweet, nutty flavor profile, reminiscent of almonds mixed with coconut. Ancient Egyptians consumed them uncooked, charred over flame, simmered in fermented grain drinks, or pulverized with honey. They also employed chufa therapeutically. The Ebers Papyrus, among humanities' Oldest medicinal manuscripts, recommends chufa preparations for various applications from oral care to aromatic fumigation procedures intended to improve household atmospheres. Beyond Egypt, Arab populations transported chufa throughout North Africa, Sicily, and the Iberian Peninsula. In Valencia, it became central to horchata de chufa, a chilled, sweetened, milk-resembling drink that has been manufactured there since the 13th century. Today, Valencia continues producing over 1,000 tons yearly exclusively for horchata. But here's the crucial element. Chufa wasn't merely sustenance. It was survival engineering. The tubers can be dehydrated and maintained eternally without cold storage and without preservative. They need no conservation technique beyond air exposure. Once dehydrated, they remain viable for years. You can restore them by immersing them in liquid for several hours. They expand back to original dimensions, prepared for consumption or cultivation. That preservation capability meant ancient populations could gather chufa in late autumn, dehydrate it throughout winter, and maintain nutritional security through environmental catastrophe, crop failure, and military blockade. The entire economic framework of industrial agriculture demands crops requiring constant inputs. Chufa represents everything that framework opposes. It's free. It's resilient. It perpetuates itself, and therefore it had to be classified as a nuisance, demonized, and systematically poisoned. Extension advisories warn that yellow nutsage becomes invasive without acknowledging that invasive means thriving. An organism that prospers without assistance is exactly what sustainable agriculture should resemble. Instead, they train farmers to perceive abundance as a problem requiring chemical intervention. And who profits from this? Chemical corporations marketing herbicides, seed companies marketing proprietary varieties, fertilizer manufacturers, equipment manufacturers. They cannot profit from chufa. So chufa had to vanish. They persuaded everyone it's valueless, a plague, something to drench with poison. But knowledge persists. In Valencia, Spain, chufa cultivation endures. The Regulatory Council safeguards the heritage of horchata. It represents 700 years of unbroken tradition. In Africa, the Hausa people still cultivate chufa as a food crop, exchanging it in markets throughout Nigeria and Mali. The knowledge survived colonialism. It survived the Green Revolution. In recent decades, chufa has begun emerging in health food establishments as tiger nuts. The paleo movement discovered them. The gluten-free movement discovered them. Researchers are investigating chufa for biodiesel because the oil concentration is remarkably high, yielding 174 gallons of oil per acre. Others are examining chufa flour as a gluten-free substitute for wheat. But observe what's not occurring. No major agricultural institution is advocating chufa as a staple crop. No government bureau is financing large-scale chufa research for food security. They're still publishing advisories on elimination methods. The infrastructure remains devoted to suppression. The herbicide industry continues profiting from its destruction. Chufa still develops wherever circumstances permit. It still produces tubers. It still offers the identical nutrition that sustained Egyptian civilization. And the knowledge survives. Every individual who learns that the invasive they've been poisoning is actually sustenance from pharaonic tombs becomes harder to manipulate. Every farmer who discovers chufa produces superior nutrition per acre than wheat represents forfeited revenue for chemical corporations. Every garden where chufa thrives without inputs is evidence that the industrial narrative is fabricated. But 16,000 years of human history tells a different story. The story is straightforward. This organism feeds people abundantly, sustainably, without requiring authorization. And that's why they want you to forget it exists. But you won't, because now you know. The pharaohs knew. The agricultural departments definitely know. Chufa is still here, still developing, still offering 6,000 years of nutrition to anyone willing to remember. If this vault revealed something for you, subscribe to Vault of Forgotten Nature and hit the bell. Every like and every share helps preserve this wisdom. The next vault opens soon.